Guys, welcome to Tomo Talks. I'm here at Tang with Nicky Van Der Walt, the owner, the creator, the restaurateur that is changing the game for restaurants in this Asian fusion, Cantonese, Japanese model right in front of the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. I can't wait to show you this experience. South Africa. Grew up there, Joburg, right?
Yep.
Did you get into restaurants there first?
Opened my first restaurant when I was 20 years old in Johannesburg.
So only 5 years ago, yeah?
Yeah, I wish. Actually, this coming week will be 25 years ago. So, I mean, I've always loved hospitality.
Sure.
I think I fell in love with hotels, first and foremost, resorts. Saul Kerzner, who was a South African, who I'm sure you know from Atlantis and a few other things that he built, was a childhood hero of mine. And restaurants are viewed as an easier stepping stone into hospitality. Having said that, I fell head over heels in love with restaurants because of all the elements it encompasses from a design, people, service, food. So yeah, 20 when I opened my first one and still going strong 25 years later.
Man. And Tang, this concept. So we're in, for everybody watching, we're in Dubai. We're at the Palace Downtown Hotel. And Tang is the anchor right here, this restaurant anchor.
Correct.
Right
Most
next to it.
Iconic landmark location, right in front of the Burj Khalifa, full fountain views.
The Burj is right here, I think, yeah.
Right, so we're sitting in the PDR, private dining room now.
Yeah.
Unbelievable location for our third one, first international venture.
And where was the first Tang?
First Tang was in the capital of South Africa, Johannesburg.
Okay.
Most iconic landmark site as well.
Yeah.
In the Richard Square Mall. Found that site just before COVID hit and went on to the second one shortly afterwards. And you've opened 3 restaurants in 3.5 years.
Well, and the pandemic was very interesting for you. And we were talking off camera before this. Let's dive into that because I love rags to riches stories. I love when people, and even if you didn't start, at a lower income level, if you lost it and you had to make it back, it's the same thing.
100%. No, I mean, a lot of people, especially in the Instagram or the TikTok age, people believe that some people are just instantaneously successful. And I'm sure there are many people, and there are, I know a few people, but the reality is, I don't know if you've ever seen that graph, the road to success, and it's like a squiggly thing.
Yeah, you fall off the cliff a couple times.
A lot of people went bankrupt during COVID.
Sure.
I went into COVID bankrupt.
So you started off good.
I started. So yeah, I mean, I found the site in the first site for Tang, and I put an offer to lease before the pandemic hit, and we went into our first official lockdown, and yeah, I mean, restaurants were closing left, right, and center.
Oh yeah,
and this was a big bet for me, a huge bet. I put everything on it during the pandemic. Also, whilst I was busy trying to secure the financing and secure the lease, my wife fell pregnant. Wow. I had no income. It was quite a thing, and I doubled down.
So you're bankrupt and you're having, which child was this?
This is child number 3, and it was my boy.
God bless.
Yeah. And my wife said, there's no, it couldn't be a worse time. And the reality is that, you become ready. There's never a perfect time to have a child.
If
anything, I think when she fell pregnant, it gave me great drive to get this off the ground. So, yeah, the first Tang opened up in the middle of the pandemic, sort of when the lockdowns started easing up or the restrictions. I managed to raise the capital, which was a few $1 million during COVID. And I try and explain to people, raising money for a restaurant during COVID is like trying to finance a plane without wings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it's a tough sell, but I think, the location, the products, my passion, the team I put together, yeah, the rest is history. Here we are in Dubai.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
And going into something, we have a similar story. I went into, I didn't go in bankrupt, but I went in just starting a business.
Yeah.
And then when the pandemic hit, I was told that I had to close my business because it was quote unquote not essential.
Yeah.
We were in the medical space, but we were not in an emergency room.
Yeah.
And he told me the exact same thing, and I'm like, I can't. I'll be dead.
You actually, yeah.
So you basically, I locked my door. I didn't let the health officials, when they knocked on the door, health department, yeah, we're closed, we're just cleaning the office. And then when a patient knocked on the door, yeah, come in.
I mean, interesting you mentioned you from a health and wellness background. Interesting enough, I mean, I ventured out of hospitality for a brief period of time into the CBD space.
Oh, nice.
Everybody's like, that was the hype, cannabis and CBD.
Yeah.
And I set up this business actually together with my wife, because everybody thought CBD is the next thing. And
Some definite benefits.
yeah, listen, there was definite benefits. There was a change of regulation in South Africa, and I was pumping money into this business, and I said to my wife, I'm used to a business pumping money out at me. I'm not used to pumping money in.
Yes.
And the interesting thing was a small shift just back into the right direction of where I wanted to be and my purpose, and that is hospitality. And that unlocked so much for me, just that rejig and refocusing.
Yeah, I mean, refocus is so important. And I've done this several times. I've invested in different businesses.
Yeah, which is fun. You need to.
You need to. And you need to almost fail at doing those sometimes. Failure
is the most important ingredient for success.
I love that you said that.
No, it is single-handedly.
Tell me what that means to you. You got a couple of years on me. You have more experience than me. Everybody else I've been talking to has been a little bit younger than me. They've been in their early 30s, 20s. Rich guys that are young.
I've had very successful businesses. I've made money. I've lost money.
Mm-hmm.
And time again, I think where I've lost money is where I wasn't true to what I believed my path was. When I saw a gap in the market and I thought it's opportunistic, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Sure.
Nothing wrong with it. But ultimately, so at my first restaurant, I was 20. I had a few restaurants. I sold them when I was 26. I took off, I had a sabbatical, went to Argentina, played polo, traveled a bit. When I ventured back in, when I came back after my sabbatical, I actually entered into natural resources, which at that stage there was a big commodity boom in the world. And obviously being South Africa and Africa, we had access to great minerals. And I made some money there.
Sure.
I was lying, and then 2012, I think it was, when we were fully invested, I think Goldman Sachs shorted oil to $20 or $30 a barrel. I got wiped out.
Yeah.
I got completely wiped out.
Yeah, so that was a
And
mess.
I said to my wife the one day, we sat down, I said, ultimately, what is that one thing that if someone picked me up and dropped me in the middle of anywhere, and I had to fend for myself or provide for my family, what's the one thing that I can do well and I want to do that will provide? And that was hospitality.
Yeah.
Going back to that. And that, again, that refocus there just pointed me in the right direction. And you speak about failure and success. I mean, I got involved in a hotel project, quite a prolific one, and it was like a perfect storm. Whatever got thrown at me, whatever obstacles we had, we'd overcome. Then there was another one, and the partnership fallout this way, that way. As I said, a perfect storm, and it was a huge failure, which should have been a big success, and that set me back. I mean, that set me back a few years, and that's why when COVID hit. I was at the tail end of like 2-3 year bad fallout from that project. But I'd learned so much in that project and then from that failure that it set me up for this project and all the projects after that I knew what was going to come my way. I knew how to deal with it. I knew how to counter it. I knew intuitively how to make sure certain things didn't happen again.
Sure. Well, you learn from your mistakes. You learn from failures.
You're a fool if you don't.
Yes. Yeah. Well, people constantly behave like that. You know what I mean? I have a saying. And I don't think I coined it. I'm sure I stole it from somewhere because it's almost very hard to coin a phrase at this point. You know what I mean? Yeah. With the internet, everybody's quoted already.
Correct.
But I always say, I never lose. I either win or I learn.
Great. Yeah.
And that's kind of been
great. Listen, it doesn't sometimes feel like that in the moment.
Sure.
But
if that reminder's in the back of your head, when it feels like a loss. Shit, I'm going to lose some money.
Yeah.
Shit, I'm going to, this business failed. Oh, this venture failed.
You do learn.
This relationship has problems. You learn.
Of course.
That's how life is supposed to be.
Correct. Correct.
Tell me about the vision with Tang, because this was an amalgamation of several things.
Well, it's quite poignant we're having this discussion in Dubai, and I credit Dubai a lot for the creation of Tang.
Okay.
So when I mentioned I had restaurants in my 20s, early 20s to mid 20s, and in South Africa there was a very much mom and pop kind of operations. My first few were actually mom and pop operations, and there was very much a ceiling in terms of the size, the size of investment, the ceiling in terms of income it could generate and stuff like that. And I ventured out. I said, listen, there's a ceiling for me here, and I sort of fell out of love with it. And sort of in the early 2010s, you want to call it, 11, 12, when the DIFC opened up, and we had Zuma, and I started seeing these big box, high energy, big capex stores. And, obviously I've traveled the world, London, New York, and I've seen the best of the best. And it sort of inspired me because the market is sort of changing in South Africa, because a lot of the South Africans would come to Dubai, come to London, and they were being serviced by mom and pop. Nothing wrong with that, but there was a certain level of service, a certain level of finesse missing.
Sure.
And when I saw the market turn, there was actually one or two other restaurants that opened up. I could see that the market reacted well to it. And looking at what was missing in our market was a high-end luxury Asian, Pan-Asian. And my first restaurant was Italian, first love, but my first memories, fondest memories, was going to a Chinese restaurant with my parents. And I always loved Chinese food. I'm always fascinated with Asia, and I traveled to Hong Kong and what else.
Culture's amazing. The culture of the food is amazing.
Yeah, everything around it. And my favorite restaurants, Hakkasan, the original one in London, which actually yesterday I read it's closing down, by Alan Yao. So Hakkasan, Zuma, amazing. But the one is Chinese, the other one is Japanese.
Sure.
And I often tease, I say, in reality, Japan and China hate each other.
Yeah.
But on a menu, they're the best of friends because they fit perfectly. And I would like to say we are Pan-Asian, but we've got a strong emphasis on those two. We don't go too much in the Thai or the Korean or anything like that.
Sure. Well, technically, this is Japanese and Cantonese.
Yeah, strong focus. So modern Japanese izakaya. For your viewers who don't know what izakaya means, izakaya is more comfort food, pub style dining. So people have this misnomer in Japan, everybody's eating sushi, which is not the fact.
Yeah.
Sushi is regarded as a delicacy, for the lack of doing, but everybody's eating in izakaya. So izakaya also focuses around the fire, which is robata. Mm-hmm. And also what worked perfectly in the Tang concept is that in Africa, we've got unbelievable beef. We're known for our meat.
Yes.
And like you guys call it barbecue, we call it a braai.
Yeah.
A barbecue and a braai is nothing other than a robata.
Yeah.
So in these izakayas, the families and friends and people get together around the fire and do beautiful barbecue food.
Yeah, yeah.
So we sort of, we expanded that concept, and we took the best of the best. I took the best of Hakkasan, I took the best of Zuma, took the best of Nobu, and we adapted it. Ultimately, I think Picasso said, everybody's borrowed a little bit. He borrowed a bit from Monet, borrowed a bit from Van Gogh, a bit from Rembrandt, and made it his own. So as I said to you earlier on, if Zuma, Hakkasan, and Nobu had to have a menage a trois, for you I don't know, that's a threesome, the love child that would be born would be Tang.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. It's beautiful how you frame that because, again, talking about learning, talking about developing, thinking that you're going to, reinventing the wheel. I think this is reinventing the wheel. I think this is reinventing the wheel in a certain way.
Yeah.
But you're getting inspiration from places, from the most favorite places.
Inspiration is a beautiful, beautiful word. Of course, inspired by them. And interesting enough, when I sat down with my designer the first time when we got our first location, the interiors were very much based on Hakkasan, like the lattice and the dark, and it is still dark, but it's those. And I sat back with my designer, and he's extremely talented. He's done world-class things. I said, we actually can't create a copy here. I don't want Tang to be a copy.
Yes.
I don't want to be a copy because one day I'm going to open up in Dubai or London, which I now have, and I don't want to open up next. I probably will open up next to any of those other brands.
Sure.
But it must be, unique.
Yes.
So we created a white space, white box, and we said, okay, what do we want it to be? And if you look at the decor, it's unique. I don't know any restaurant that really looks like this. It's very, very unique.
Well, it has a, for lack of a better term, it has a sex appeal to it.
That's sexy.
It's sexy.
It's sexy. And that's the other thing about Asian food. People often say women love Asian food. It's a great, if you're going to take a girl on a date, take an Asian. My wife actually said that to me. Asian food appeals to women. Yeah. It's sexy.
Yeah. But the design, the decor, I might have to talk to your designer. Yeah. We might have to figure this out and talk to the designer a little bit. It's a beautiful way you did this. Including in this room, we're in the private dining room, with the books, with everything. And these books have meaning to you. There's one right behind me, right over here.
It was a gift from our staff on first birthday.
Yeah.
Because I collect watches. So.
That's anybody that has taste collects good watches. Yeah. I'm going to pick up.
It was difficult to collect during the pandemic when you're bankrupt, but it was a big aspiration coming back.
Also, they were selling like crazy. You couldn't get anything.
No,
because the manufacturers were all going.
Correct.
Tell me about what you envision for yourself moving forward in the hospitality industry. Where do you see? Are you going to expand Tang? And by the way, this is crazy. We talked about this off camera. the expansion idea.
Yeah.
And you get a message this morning.
No, we'll get to that now, which is very uncanny. The idea is to scale Tang. You know, we did our first one in South Africa locally, then we went regionally or domestically to another province, and now our third one is international.
Sure.
You know, I think I said to you early on, we're no rush to expand, but we know we have to expand. And the team that I've got are multi-unit managers. They've done various units, various openings. So whether it's a UAE expansion, and I've got one or two things in the cards for Dubai, whether that's UAE, Abu Dhabi, whether it's Saudi, you know, it depends on the site.
The GCC region is definitely ripe for this.
GCC, I think, would be the first. But having said that, I've been offered sites in the US. I mean, this morning, I can't believe that you're from Orlando. I was offered a site in Orlando, which is uncanny for me. But I mean, as we both say, we believe in luck and we believe
in destiny, we believe in luck.
Synchronicity and everything, and serendipity. Yeah, I think the idea is, so I've got a company above Tang, which is my holding company, which is called the Miramar Collection. Always love the name Miramar. Very much inspired by Top Gun, the movie, and there's a Miramar Beach in Florida. But just the name means a lot to me. So Miramar Collection is not just focused on restaurants. It's lifestyle hospitality. I've got a rosé. I make my own wine. I've got a Provençal style wine, which I've blended on my fourth vintage now.
Wow.
Doing very well.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Just got it listed in Dubai and going to London. So the idea would be to expand Tang as far as we can. And then I've got other ideas, which are different silos that will fit under that.
Sure.
Venture back into hotels, resorts.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to pigeonhole myself saying this is the one thing. I think what I've learned is, you know, you come up with a plan and you know, God's got other ideas for you, but you've got to have this general sense of going. I mean, I know where I want to be in 5 years' time. I know where I want to be in 10 years' time. I know where I want to be in 15 years' time. You know, I've got these milestones I want to reach, and I think they're more personal lifestyle milestones in terms of where I want to be from a financial point of view, where I want my children to be, where I want to have a first, second, or third home. You know, I've got those milestones. We'll navigate how we get there. I think we've got a blueprint. Yeah. But you've got to adapt the blueprint as you go. And whether that's going to be Tang, 10 Tangs, 2 Tangs plus a hotel, Tang plus maybe Italian restaurants, and a few other, you know, we'll see where the road takes us.
Well, adaptability, that's huge.
Yeah.
You know, and people.
You've got to be in love with, for me, I've got to be in love with the site, I've got to love with the project, and I've got to believe in it. I can't just do something for the sake of making money.
I'm happy you said that, because I think people get wrapped up in that too much. They get wrapped up in the money too much. They get wrapped up in the idea of quote unquote success, right?
Listen, I think financial freedom is very important. I mean,
we want to make money.
No, you've got to be, listen, I mean, we're in this business to make money, but I want to enjoy it. I actually said this to someone the other day. I mean, I'm 44, doing 45 now.
You're turning 45 next week.
Next week, yeah.
You don't look 45, by the way.
Thank you.
You look good.
Thank you.
The anti-aging stuff is working.
I've got to come to your clinic. You've got to open up here and keep me up.
Yes.
But money is a scorecard. It's like in golf. If you're playing for a good score, play the game right, the money will come. And you know, I don't set out every day to do. Obviously, we've got overheads, we've got huge overheads, we've got huge things to cover. But I always say to people, don't chase. Like it was a very important thing when we opened up here. I said to my waiters and my management staff, you are not going to upsell every single guy. We're not going to retire off the first guy in every guy that eats here. Rather, recommend a normal tenderloin or fillet versus the Wagyu, and let the guests themselves get there. And you know, we're not there to, excuse my language, rape the guest. You know, and it goes to my business philosophy. You know, we want to scale, but we're not going to do it in a way that it shoots us in the foot. Yeah.
And again, that's the same thing in my industry. And you're right. I do notice that in a lot of restaurants. It's a constant upsell, and it's a constant battle.
It's the most irritating thing in the world.
It is. I upsold myself on everything the first time I ate here.
No, that's fine. I mean, the menu is designed in such a way that, you do want to eat everything. I went with my wife this week and went for lunch. Where did we go? Can't mention where we went. And I sat down and myself and my wife and ordered a bottle of rosé. And the waiter looked at me and says, "Would you like a Magnum?" I looked at him like it's like cheeky, clever, but I'm like, I don't want to be sold a Magnum of rosé with my wife on a Sunday lunch. You know what I mean?
We're not trying to.
It's not pleasant that. I mean, if you're in the mood we ended up having 2 bottles. I should have probably taken the Magnum, but let me arrive there by my own. I don't like being forced into that. That for me, guys, it's the antithesis of hospitality.
It's they have somewhat of a forceful nature of doing that here. I've noticed.
Yeah.
I'm not put off by it. I understand it.
Well,
I understand
listen,
the game.
we have this discussion quite a lot. I've got a lot of Greek friends, and we used to go to Mykonos quite a lot.
Sure.
I've been going to Mykonos for 20 years, and what I found on that island specifically is that they try and see how far they can push the guest, how much money they can extract out of you.
Yeah.
And it takes the pleasure. Listen, the service is good, the settings is fantastic, but it takes the pleasure out of the experience, which is what I'm trying to blow a breath of fresh air into the market, saying, we're not going to force you to have a minimum spend.
Yeah.
We're not going to try and extract you. We're not going to make you feel uncomfortable on a date having to order the Petrus versus a bottle from Washington State.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's
You're
it's sincere. I think that's the word I'm looking for. It's sincere.
Yes.
Sincere hospitality.
Yeah. So, it's funny. I talk about service and basically customer service in a wellness perspective from my medical clinic. There's no customer service in medicine, by the way.
Yes.
Zero. There's
Very
almost
clinical.
there's almost no customer service. There's almost no
Thank you.
There's almost no hospitality in my industry.
Very clever that you combine it,
to combine it, So when we look at it, we're not trying to shove medication down their throat. We're not trying to upsell at every opportunity. We don't even, my model in the US, which people told me were crazy. They thought I was absolutely insane. They're like, you have to charge monthly fee. You have to charge yearly fees. You have to charge refill fees. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to do it different.
Organically.
I'm going to have, they pay for the consultation. They pay for, the blood work and the testing off the rip. They have the consultation. Then they're given an information. They have an hour with a practitioner, which more than anybody ever sees with a doctor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have an hour. Then you get your sheet with all your information, all your recommendations, everything like that. And then you can walk.
Yeah, it's up to you how you want to go shop. It's clever.
Correct. Yeah. So it gives the power to them. And it also gives them the feeling that, like, I call it, for lack of a better term, like the give a shit factor.
Yeah.
We give a shit.
Well, listen, my wife, we used to go to this beauty salon back home many years ago. And she'd drag me, come do a facial with me. Like, it's a good couple things for you. But every time I go there, like if you do a couple's facial or a massage, when you walk out, they shove like 20 different products in you, which is actually 3 times the expense. Yeah. And you feel uncomfortable, you feel obliged and uncomfortable. It sort of undoes the whole experience. I mean, you stop going. It's not pleasant.
Yeah. And the way that you guys are doing it here, you're not trying to shove a magnum down my throat. You're not trying to upsell me constantly on the next steak, right? No. I do the same thing in the medical space, where you have the power as the consumer, you have the power as the patient to kind of guide your own destiny.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned. So yesterday over the weekend, I was approached by a fund that wants to invest. And, we get a lot of people approaching us. But interesting, they're sending this deck. And while there's a big focus from the large luxury brands and private equity into luxury hospitality, it's because they have finally figured out that luxury hospitality is AI proof. Okay. And I try and install this. And interesting, I saw it actually on a deck, like scientifically drawn down. And there's three sectors: luxury hospitality, wellness and fitness. And what is the third? I can't remember. There's a third one. The rest, from legal to everything else, that's all going to be affected by AI, whether it's completely replaced by AI or not.
I just wrote a contract with AI, so legal, yes.
The reason for that, it's emotion. Humans have emotion. We evoke emotion. Okay. So I say, for as long as a computer can't evoke an emotion in a human, or can't feel emotion, it can't provide emotion. And it's as simple as that. And that's why it's quite interesting in your business and in your field that you're in. You're also semi-AI proof.
Yeah, well said.
We're all going to be affected by it, but to a lesser degree.
I think these other industries, like you said, I just wrote a contract with an AI bot. I just wrote a legal contract.
Yeah, that's
and
amazing.
Then I sent it to my lawyer.
Yes.
He's like, yeah, this is great.
I fact check my lawyer through ChatGPT. Exactly. I'll send him
But you can't fact check hospitality. You can't fact check the wellness. You can't fact check, these kind of things. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
As you guys can see, we have great service while we're in the middle of the podcast. It's amazing. So, you can't do these things. You can't do these things in our industries, but we can utilize those tools. I'm absolutely going to utilize. I'm going to absolutely utilize AI. Yeah, so will you.
Of course. From a search engine point of view, I mean, we're going to get there. But I think, I'm a late adopter to most things technology orientated. I still Financial Times, the FT Weekend, I still need the newspaper. I wait, and for me, it's not so much it's the content that I'm receiving, it's how I'm receiving the content.
Sure.
And it's the emotion it evokes me going there, taking the newspaper and reading it. And I think the world's going to be split into two. One side is going to go completely the AI route, and there's other people that are going to say, you know what, I don't want to read on a Kindle.
Yeah.
I want the actual book. I like the smell of a newspaper.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be served by a robot when I check into a hotel.
Yeah.
I want a warm body serving me, someone that actually gives a fuck. Excuse my language.
Yeah. No, but listen.
I don't think robots give a fuck.
Yeah. I don't think the robots are there.
Exactly.
The give a fuck factor is not there.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to technology and being AI proof, right? That it's an interesting concept because everybody's trying to constantly automate. Everybody's trying to constantly do things faster, do things with less
More
effort.
efficiency. Yeah.
Proficient. Where I love the idea, and me and you know, we're not too far apart in age. You know, I'll be 40. I'll be 40 this year, and you know, slowing down.
Yeah.
Sometimes enjoying. Being able to have some human interaction, having a conversation like this.
I'm thoroughly enjoying this.
Most people, you know, if they wanted to do a podcast or something with you, Zoom.
As you said that, I can't, obviously there's a need, and Zoom serves its purposes. You don't have to jump on a flight every 5 minutes to go see someone. But you can't connect with someone.
No.
So Danny Meyer, who's probably one of the greatest restaurateurs, he started a Shake Shack, but 11 Madison Avenue, and he calls connecting the dots, but making connections. Our business is about making connections.
Yes.
You know, Michael Kolb, your fellow American, you guys connected over sake, but you're making that connection. That draws you back to a place. It makes you want to enjoy the place more.
Yeah. Well, Gary behind the camera, he always says he's like, how are you so connected here? He's like, how do you just make I'm like, I just talk to people.
Yeah. Make the connection.
And people can call it, I think people minimize it and call it networking. It's just being polite, being human.
I love people. I think that's why I'm also doing my business. My wife like shies away from like, I would be walking in a supermarket and I'm like looking at people like, what made you buy that? And, you know, why, you know, I just enjoy it. I want to understand people, but I love chatting to people. Sure. It's like making connections.
Do you think that's been lost in the recent times? I think especially during the pandemic. Yeah. A lot of people stopped communicating. A lot of people got very kind of closed off, you know?
I would say yes, and I'm going to say no. I think also isolation when people were, you know, all of us, we couldn't leave our homes. You know, I think people crave human interaction. And I think that's the rise of, if you look at the rise, you know, in that same deck that I sent, the rise of travel and people want to experience more. They want to meet more people. And I think that's also, if you see the restaurants have blossomed.
Oh, yeah.
For one reason, people want to be around people.
Yeah. So you think that maybe,
and I think it's
maybe spark something.
Yeah. Well, Dubai certainly, you know, as a country, took off. The way they handled it during the pandemic.
Sure. And
the restaurants went into overdrive, You know, just because of that, I think people want to be around people. People want to be served by people and be around. We're not made to sit in a house and receive our groceries and eat at home.
No, and there's something about doing something as simple as going to the grocery store.
Love it.
And there's something as simple as going to, you know, the pleasure of going to a restaurant instead of getting Uber Eats. You know what I mean? Now, eating at home is great, but when you cook at home, it's great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's merits to both.
100%. Yeah, of course. Do you cook?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do. I love cooking.
Okay.
I love.
So, yeah, you know, it's interesting. You have some restaurateurs that aren't necessarily chefs, but love food.
Yeah.
And then there's other restaurateurs that are like,
my wife often sees we love entertaining. So I think there's two things. I love to cook, but I also love to entertain. So when we open up, we entertained a lot. So my wife said, finally, we opened the restaurant, we're going to entertain less. We actually ended up entertaining more.
Sure.
This is like crazy. So you think you'll have your night off and just Netflix and chill, but you end up, come to the house because you want to enjoy that space. And
you got to be careful the next place and chill. You know, fourth kid soon. You'll be very.
I've done my Netflix and chill part.
Okay. Yeah. So what do you like to cook? What's your? I mean, obviously you like the Asian cuisine.
Listen, I don't cook Asian at home.
No.
I mean, as much as I love Asian food, I'm Asianed up by the time.
Sure.
I love simple food, believe it or not. I eat very plainly. I would like to believe I've got a very good palate. A lot of the food I develop together with the chefs. But I love to eat plainly. I enjoy cooking meat.
Yeah.
And I love classic French roast.
Classic French roast beef.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bouillon and stuff like that. I enjoy that. We can try and experiment and but just plain out. We tend to do the same things over and over.
Yeah.
Love a good barbecue.
Yeah, of course.
Which is amazing. So coming from South Africa, we had outdoors and whatever else. People said you're moving to the desert, and we actually maintain a fantastically stable, similar lifestyle here.
Sure.
You know, we've got amazing access to meat. Go to the Spinneys, Waitrose.
Yeah.
Get beautiful Wagyu, Angus cuts.
There's great food here.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
The best are people, I went back home. Well, this is home, but I went back to South Africa. People say, but don't you suffer with getting ingredients? And I almost pause, I look at them, I'm like, this is the number one F&B capital in the world at the moment. More so than New York or London, anywhere like that. The best of the best of the best have come here.
Yeah.
So the produce that we have access to is insane. I mean, you go into a normal supermarket, you can get San Marzano tomatoes from Italy.
Yeah.
It's insane.
We walked into a supermarket the other day, and there's 5 different types of bananas from 5 different regions of the world. I'm like,
I did the same.
This is crazy.
Online, I tried to order different from Ecuador. I get stuff from everywhere. You can't believe it. It's amazing.
Yeah. So
Dubai's got that right. I think in terms of catering to everybody and
food culture in Dubai. So when people think about food culture, and people will say, okay, Paris, okay, nobody talks about London, unfortunately, but
listen, London,
they have a great food culture now.
I think London for me up until Dubai 4 or 5 years ago, for me probably was the best.
Sure, but 15 years ago is shit.
But Brexit, yeah, correct. I would say 20 years ago, maybe.
20 years ago, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, 15 years ago, it started getting very good. And I think Brexit screwed them.
Yeah.
A very dear friend of mine Tasha, she opened up a restaurant in Battersea. And she struggles with the labor because Brexit changed that. So all of a sudden, a lot of the talent came to Dubai.
Yeah.
So
a lot of expats, a lot of UK expats.
Huge.
Yeah.
And the earning potential is great. But London still, I think the food scene's still good. And interestingly enough, I mean, I've been offered a few locations in London.
Sure.
Although a lot of millionaires are leaving, I see a lot of my competition are still opening new stores and doing fantastically well.
Yeah.
So I'm not writing London off, no way.
There's still a lot of tourism going to London. And,
London will always be London.
Yeah, of course. They're always going to be there. There's always going to be money there. It is getting more expensive, though. I know that.
It's getting more expensive, and they've got to get crime under control. If they get crime under control in London,
it's bad. That's bad right now. You can't. I can't wear this watch.
No, you can't.
I can't wear this watch in London.
You can't. It's insane.
We had to have private security around us.
You can only wear that here. You can't wear it in Saint-Tropez. The other day someone was robbed in Monaco.
In Monaco?
In
really?
Monaco.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't had a good fight in a while, so maybe I'd like to,
I
go.
My last long time ago.
I'd like to go with it, but still I like the watch. I don't want to lose it.
It's a lovely watch, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, you're a collector yourself, obviously. So when you're looking at food culture, when you're looking at the world, you've traveled all over the place. Where are the top 5 food culture sites to you? Because I can't help but put Dubai at...
Dubai is number one.
Is it
Dubai,
really?
Yeah, Dubai is number one. I mean, just go back, I'll answer what I think the top 5 are. And like in the olden days, I mean, we used to look at restaurant concepts. You used to have to go to Hong Kong, New York, London, or if it was a little bit more concept orientated to the destination we came from.
Sure.
And what's happened now is the best of the best have opened up here, and they've really done that for you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if you want to benchmark and you want to get concepts, this is the right place.
Yeah.
I haven't traveled enough in the States to comment, but I sort of have an idea.
You have...
Miami's pumping at the moment.
Miami has some chic places.
Yeah.
New York used to have... New York pre-pandemic was great. It's kind of...
It's weird. I struggled in New York. There was a lot.
There was a lot.
Yeah. But there wasn't like anything really exceptional that like really stood out.
Yeah.
I mean, the old classics like the Cirque and those places closed. Yeah. I mean, but top 5 food, definitely Paris.
Paris, yeah.
France as a whole, because it's their culture. For them, they're born. It's for they don't eat for sustenance.
I was just there in early December. It was great.
It's beautiful. Yeah. I mean, Paris is unbelievable. It's a pedestrian city. So people don't like to spend time in small apartments.
Sure.
Rome, also amazing.
Love Rome.
Got to put London in there.
Yeah. You put London in the top 5?
Yeah, put London in the top 5. New York. Tokyo. Tokyo.
I haven't traveled into
Tokyo.
Asia.
Geez, wow, unbelievable.
I'm excited. I'm excited to be there.
So
I'll be there.
I think top 5 is a bit. We've got to go top 10.
Top 10. Yeah. Sure.
And believe it or not, like we spent the last time we spent in Spain. I love the Spanish food culture is insane. So that also has to be in the top 5.
Sure,
so let's go top 10. I mean,
it's too hard to narrow down.
You go to Barcelona or just the whole of Spain, the whole approach to food. It's not very dissimilar for me to French cuisine. The cuisine types might be different, but the approach to food, the kinds of produce, the depth and the knowledge to which they go, it's insanity.
Yeah, and then
we holiday in Marbella, and there's a supermarket there called El Corte Inglés. So we would literally spend, you spoke now about grocery shopping. Yeah. We would spend 2-3 hours a day. We're not next to the pool. We're just looking at all the different produce, and it's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Well, you put Dubai number 1.
At the moment, yes. I definitely think so. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's unfair because, people can say, but the Michelin rating, you've got to take, if you're going to go on the Michelin rating, go like 3-star. For me, a 3-star rating is not an indicator. It's an indicator of, yes, it's going to be an exceptional experience all around. It's not just one dimension in terms of the food.
Yes,
which 9 out of 10 times is not accessible. There's a lot of restaurants here that are accessible. And I think accessible is the most important thing.
Sure.
And aspirational. The quality is there. But currently, the number 1 F&B hotspot in the world is Dubai.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah.
If you'd ask me what's the best in terms of the cuisine, it's like a whole different...
Yeah. Well, you've already named your 2 favorite restaurants. What's the best... This is going to be hard for you to answer.
I didn't say my 2 favorite restaurants. Which 2? No.
No. I'm sorry. Your 2 inspirations for this one. What are your 2 favorite restaurants? And let me get into that. I have to ask.
My favorite restaurant would be Cinq Cinq. Club 55 is known in Saint-Tropez.
Okay.
It's just such an iconic place. It's such simple, beautiful food. It's so consistent. Patrice Owner's been there. His father opened up. It's where they shot the God Created Woman with Bridget Bardot. That's consistently amazing. Other favorite restaurant, China Tang, London, Dorchester.
Okay.
Also, the name sort of, we got inspiration from it. I love China Tang. I suppose both of those in terms of cuisine, people want to say, the food's like good to average. For me, when I go to a restaurant, it's not one-dimensional.
What's an emotional experience?
It's emotional.
Yeah.
And both of those evoke such great emotion in me, it's frightening.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And I'm a man of simple taste as well, simple foods. Yeah. I like a barbecue. And how do you say barbecue again in South Africa?
Braai.
Braai.
B-R-A-I. Braai.
Braai. I'm gonna start calling it braai. I like it better.
Next time you're with your missus, we'll have you over. And
I'd love that. Yeah, and if you cook me proper braai, you know what I mean. If you do that, that'd be excellent. I would absolutely enjoy that. Listen, I don't know how else to explain to people the food culture in Dubai and how much it's impacted me. And this restaurant just opened 9 weeks ago.
It's about 9th week. Yeah.
9 weeks ago. So we're right now. Where are we? Beginning of March. Yeah. Ramadan's about to start.
Yeah. So, we're still in February. It's been a very long month.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So March is in a couple days, and this restaurant was so impactful to me that I actually reached out. Thank you. Listen, it was one of the. I had 2 guests. I had my lady with me. I had a friend here from the United States who's an investor with me. He's a business partner, and he wants to also invest in my Dubai clinic. Amazing. And he was so impacted.
I'm excited for your Dubai clinic, by the way.
I can't wait for it. It's needed. You know.
No, 100%. I think it's.
Well, we sat down for dinner, and he looked at me afterwards, and he's like, I'm embarrassed to say so. This is the best meal I've ever had in my life.
Thank you.
Swear to God, he actually said that.
It means a lot. We get that from a few people, and I don't ever take it for granted, and we don't rest on our laurels.
Yeah.
But what makes it more special is that I think by now that I really, really deeply care about my guests and the guest experience. But you take that guest experience and you pair it with this location.
Of course.
And that's why I said we're very careful about how we're going about it. I think the trend in Dubai is that most restaurants turn into a nightclub. That's like the trend, and people want it high. We are high energy by nature. But I'm trying to create something that's enduring for the next 25 years.
Yes.
I'm not trying to create something that's hot for 6 months.
Yeah, the next pop, the 6 month pop.
I don't want that 6 month pop.
Yeah.
I think it was Joe Bastianich. He's a New York restaurateur, Italian restaurateur, Del Posto and a few other restaurants. I read his book and he said it's better to be medium hot for 15, 20 years than to be sizzling hot for 6 months. And it's quite an interesting approach.
Sure.
You know, it's a bit more of a mature approach. I think if I was 25, I would have turned it into a nightclub and, you know, gone with the craze. And like now I'm older, I think, you know, the sites, the team and everything else, we want to create something. We want to create a legacy site here.
Well, the sizzling hot doesn't fit with your brand mindset of that authenticity.
Yeah,
and you know, and that hotness is usually massive upselling, massive promotion. You know, dealing with the Instagram models and all that.
No, let's get that.
And then you get that, of course.
We've got
but
all
it's
of that.
only that when it's one dimensional.
No,
like
it's very
that.
one. I mean, no, they all come. I mean, we're not hot. I mean, we had Black Coffee at the opening. I had Gypsy Kings at.
Oh, listen, this place was hard to get into.
But no, we've got that. I mean, we are hot, but I don't. You understand what I'm trying to say?
I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying we're
not chasing the scene.
Well, you're not throwing everything else aside
No.
just to be white hot for 6 months.
Correct.
You're keeping it all there.
And I'll tell you what's quite nice. You speak about the Instagram models and the influencers. I mean, they come. You know, they come. And when I read the posts, you know, they actually, you can see that they're quite taken away by. They're like, touch, like, what a great location, what a magnificent place, what an unbelievable experience. And I think the word we keep going for is experience.
Yes.
You know, they're not just like trying to take the selfie and like trying to pose. They're taking in the experience and they realize it's not a one-dimensional.
And my favorite way to explain it, because you are very much not one-dimensional. This experience in this restaurant, it's not just two-dimensional, it's not three-dimensional. It's almost a four-dimensional experience because you're getting into emotion on top of that. You know, you have the food, you have the location, you have the ambiance and service. But then you have emotion on top of it.
Yeah.
And the emotion of the experience, you know, something as simple as when we had the oysters and, you know, it's bubbling up with the smoke, with you know, and that's emotion.
Yeah.
You know, and with the backdrop, we were sitting at the best table.
Yeah.
You sat us at the best table. Your staff sat us right in front and the Burge is right there. That emotion, that four-dimensional experience, that is what Tang gave me on my time.
You know, you mentioned that, I'm thinking of, you know, all of my locations and the ones going forward are all like landmark, high density traffic areas. What you find is 9 or 10 times locations like this, they just trade on location.
Yeah.
We don't have to put that smoke. You know, we don't have to do this little bit of extra.
Super cool.
Because all I can do is have like a good-ish kind of meal in front of you.
Sure.
With that view, I'm in the money.
Yeah.
But that's not what we stand for.
Yeah.
You know, we want to take something that's already amazing to a completely different level.
Well, you're establishing a landmark restaurant at a landmark location.
Correct. Thank you.
That's what it's all about.
Thank you.
Yeah. Listen, I appreciate this conversation. I appreciate your time.
Man,
I know you're a busy guy.
We'll do episode 2 over Brian.
Over Bry, we'll do episode 2.
And I look forward to the opening of your clinic. It's amazing.
Thank you so much.
It's amazing.
I appreciate it. And
really
we'll make sure we stay connected with you. Maybe we'll have you cater the party, the grand opening party.
Be a great honor.
That would be an amazing thing. Brother, thank you so much.
Cheers, man.
Appreciate it.